Hey guys, today we're going to show you how to install a windshield on the 2020 Road Glide Limited, the Zephyr Blue. We bought a new windshield from Long Ride Shields, and we're going to show you how to do this install. It is super simple. It's really easy. You need one tool, this bit driver. The bit in question is a 1/8. So this installation will cover all of the Road Glides 2015 and up, with the exception of the standard, because the standard doesn't have these little pieces right here. So if you don't have these windshield lights from Custom Dynamics and you've got just the standard Harley piece, the installation is exactly the same. So we're going to take our 1/8 bit. If you've got a buddy to help you to just keep a hand on the other side while you're working to keep the windshield from sliding off and scratching the paint, that'll be helpful, but you can do it with just one person. You take these 4 bolts and screws and you loosen them, and I usually just start with loosening them, taking some of the tension off, and then I go to the other side and I do the same, and it's just to get some of the tension off so things don't pop and snap as I'm taking them apart. So we've gone ahead and loosened these. Now on this bike I already have one of the LRS shields on here, the smoked one. The smoke has been kind of giving me some trouble with weather and nighttime conditions, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it off and replace it with a clear. If you have just the Harley stock shield on your bike, you have these slits. If you have the stock shield, just unloosening these bolts, which we just did, you would be able to just slide that shield straight out and you wouldn't even have to remove these completely. But if you are installing something like the LRS or one of the other shields that has the enclosed holes, you'll have to pull the bolts all the way out to make sure that you can get the windshield to install and the screw holes to line up with it. So now that we've got it loose, we'll go ahead and finish pulling the bolts out one side at a time. So you're just going to go ahead and crank them all the way out. Get them free and in your hand. You want to be careful in this part because that metal that you're pulling off, you don't want it to scratch and slide and mess up your paint. The Custom Dynamics, they have a rubber along the bottom of it, so you run a little bit less of a chance of scratching your paint with this one. But the stock one is just this metal piece, and you got to keep a hand on that. So you see, we just pulled this off. You see on the Custom Dynamics, it's just rubber. So we can just lay that down against the paint. No big deal. We're going to go ahead and move to the other side and pull these guys out. There's the first one. Blue's going to stick his hand there. Hold that for me. And this is the same process we would use if you didn't have these Custom Dynamics on. Blue will stick his hand there and hold it for me. So if you got two folks, it's helpful. Help you to keep from scratching up your paint. All right. Now that it's free, Blue's going to move his hand and he's just going to hold the shield in the middle. I'm going to pull this and set it aside. And now once you've got it free, you just pull it off. You can see all this filthy. If you do want to clean this, now's the perfect time to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and clean that up real quick. The installation of the new shield is just the reverse. It's really easy. We're going to go ahead and set it in place. It should line up perfectly. We're going to get our buddy to hold one side of it so that we don't mess it up. Then we're going to come back in. We're going to lay the Custom Dynamics lights back over, and it takes a little bit of finagling and moving around, but if Blue comes over here and looks down in this hole, you can see, everything's sort of lined up. And we'll just take our screws, slide it in there, get it kind of finger tight a little bit. Take the next one, slide it in there. Be careful that you got all your holes lined up. Now we're going to come over and do the other side for our buddy so he doesn't have to hold it. And then the exact same thing. Got to dig the screws back out of the pocket, but once you get that done, everything just sort of lines up. If I've got a screw that's long enough, I'll go ahead and just, you know, start it by hand. It's just a little easier to make sure that I'm not cross-threading it or getting anything ganked up. And then once I've got that done, pull out your handy bit driver, and it should just go easy. Don't use a lot of force, don't use a lot of tension, just, you know, sort of tighten it. If it starts to feel like it's cross-threading, back it out, start it over, do it again. Once we get this thing started on both sides, I'm gonna apply a little bit more on each of these. You see how I put my finger right here against the edge and kind of pushed it a little bit? Now, with this long ride shield, we want to go ahead and make sure that our gap is nice and clean. Try to keep everything, you know, all your seams nice and good. And once you feel good with this seam right here, you just tighten everything up. You know, Blue's question is, what if it's not good? You may have to loosen some things up, kind of grab it by the sides right here, maybe move it a little bit. It shouldn't take a lot of force, you know, just sort of wiggle it until it gets in the right spot. The instructions say don't use a lot of force when you're tightening this up. Just, you know, get it snug, don't be aggressive, you know, just like you're putting on an oil filter. Get it tight and turn it just a little bit more. Not a lot, just a little bit. We'll go ahead and tighten up the other side. And that's it. New windshield is installed. It's held in place by these screws and you're done. Super simple. We did about 15 minutes of video to record this, so you should be able to get this job done in about a beer. This will be a 1 beer install for Blue. It shouldn't take you more than about 5-7 minutes. Really super simple. This is 2 Blue Fred. Freaking work on your bike every day.